This is the call for all Africans in the world to come together to listen to ourselves and regroup for our generations coming up in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Akwaba, greetings. Hello. I'm Dr. Kimberly Campbell, and I'm here with Edward Mensah, the founder of Afrakanda, and we're here to introduce Afrakanda to the world. But we're here today to have a conversation about what Afrakanda is, its purpose, and how it was birthed with our founder. And I'm co-chair of Afrakanda, so it's our pleasure to welcome you into this conversation. Edward, I'd like to first ask you if you could please share a little bit about how Afrakanda was birthed.
Thank you very much for this conversation. It is something that I've been looking forward to it for a long time. So the concept of Afrakanda basically came through the idea that we need to assemble ourselves as Africans throughout the whole world. We need to have one central place. Now, I'm not talking about it in terms of being a physical place all the time, but in the mindset, where we can talk to each other, understand each other, learn from each other, and see how best we can collectively come together to advance ourselves. So that was the main concept that birthed the idea of Afrakanda.
Yes, and I dare say, as an African American, that this call has really been strong over the past few years. Yes. I think we are indeed responding to the calls. We've been seeing that in our organization, but also through many different ways. Of course, Africans have been dispersed over the past, 400 or 500 years throughout the Americas, throughout, the world, really. Yes. And so this call is quite timely. So we thank you for giving a birth in this form to and leading this call, this very important call. Can you tell us, we can imagine, of course, we all know that there's great potential in the success being achieved that you are imagining, and so many of us in our own ways are imagining. What would you say is one of the main purposes of Afrakanda?
All right, so Afrakanda, I think that we may be thinking of it one way today, but I even think it's beyond what we are thinking. There's more to come. But so far, just to give ourselves some room or control and yardstick to meet, we've thought about three main areas. One of the main purpose, or the main one is for us to be able to embark on an educational journey. The educational journey that says that we need to know about ourselves, right? We have a lot of history that has been hidden from us, not by our own fault. So we go for it and learning it and understanding by ourselves, it's very necessary. Also, the next goal is for us to embark on economic empowerment. As African people in the world, economically, we are really not where we need to be. Yes. So Afrakanda seeks to create a forum where we can come together and share among ourselves, partner among ourselves, enable ourselves to strengthen our economic base. The third area is an ecosystem. I believe that for a group of people to really advance, we need certain things. We need a place where we can live. We also need have our own food source. We need a financial institution to manage our funds. And we need a place to entertain ourselves and educate ourselves. So an ecosystem, an oasis, I'll call it, is something that we look to develop through real estate. So we can have our own places to call our own.
Yes. Our own places, our own stories, our own narrative. That seems to be a major theme and crucial element of
Absolutely.
Afrakanda. And there's a really a thread of healing within Afrakanda as well.
Yes, yes. I don't know if I mentioned earlier on, but Afrakanda actually has gone through various phases.
Tell us a little bit about
So,
that.
so the idea was birthed through the whole, I would say, a light bulb that came on in my head and the four friends of ours that we need to bring Africa to the rest of the world, right? And in doing so, we birthed Africa in Colorado. And the whole idea is to bring Africa to America. So it was a shopping mall, African-centric shopping mall that showcased culture in terms of arts and craft, clothing, cultural performances, and so on and so forth.
And food.
And food, yes,
Let's
the food.
not forget the food.
So in so doing, we decided that we're going to embark on certain programs. And the healing session was one of them. So we started by announcing to the community, bringing Africans and African Americans together to have a dialogue, right? There are a lot of misconceptions out there and stereotypes as far as Africans not liking African Americans or vice versa. Well, if it is even true, it happened many, many generations ago. So how can we sit down together and think about, okay, what next, right? Let's cry over our shoulders. Let's be angry at each other. But now we're done. Let's move forward together to help ourselves. Yes. So we had a couple of those sessions. And then last year, after the movie Black Panther, it even it even gave us more
fuel. The call being answered in many forms.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So we picked, of course, that movie. I would say that it speaks a lot to everything. I would say everything, and you have to look at it and pick what you think you can, absorb to make it a reality. Yes. So Afrakanda has picked a couple of elements from that movie, and we seek to make it a reality. One of it being that if you see the end of the movie, T'Challa came to Oakland and opened the first Irish Center, and I believe that Disney has actually made that possible in real life. We seek to take that, continue with it. As Afrakanda, we are looking at going to some place like Oaxaca in Mexico, and then having a small Irish Center to tell the African Mexicans that, hey, there's a place you can go to learn about the mainland, the culture, the language, the food, anything you want to know about the mainland, you can go there and get that information. So we're going to do that in mostly a lot of places in America, predominantly black neighborhoods and cities, to make Africa more accessible to the African Americans.
Well, that's great. Similar to the movie, Afrakanda has a clear vision about making an impact in the USA, where African Americans have experienced a lot of turmoil, and the healing is needed on a lot of fronts. But could you speak to your vision of how Afrakanda will impact the African American community? And you have already, but I'd like to just ask, is there any other ways in terms of being within the majority black areas and providing educational spaces, business, networking opportunities? What overall would be your vision for having a positive impact on the African American community?
Yeah, so definitely I've touched on the economic base. I think that is one important area that Afrakanda need to focus on.
Yes.
We've already started. Actually, we've had the opportunity to have an African American male who has a trucking business to establish links in Africa, in Sierra Leone and Ivory Coast, supplying trucks and transportation for gas between the two countries in Africa. So not only this African American business owner is making money in the US, he's also making money in Africa in the future. Yes. So I think going beyond that, we will see how best we can to bring experts, entrepreneur experts, to help anybody who is interested in the community to learn about, setting up a business and seeing how best we can connect them with Africans all over the world to provide services or partner with ourselves. Yeah.
Wonderful. And this is a movement, dare I say?
Yes, it's a movement.
Do you see
actually.
this as a movement?
Yes, I see it as a movement.
Okay.
I see myself as a minuscule part of it, actually. I want it to be a strong force in saying that we now know ourselves, because knowing ourselves is a big component of this, right? So once we know ourselves, then we can say that this is what we want to do for ourselves moving forward.
Right.
We have a promising future, I see. What is holding us back today is that, number one, we don't know ourselves, and we've been living the narrative of others.
And we don't understand one another's stories all the time.
Right.
That story sharing has not been collective throughout the diaspora, and it's been mediated often by other cultural frames. And so Afrakanda seeks to center our stories within our own context, within our own context as descendants, as children of Africa.
Yes. We're also going to embark on a trip to the mainland to basically showcase the wealth and excitement that we have back in Africa, and enable anybody who feel affiliated to have the physical touch of Africa. Yes. And then we're also going to do a couple of healing sessions. Yes. Again, I think we can never cut it out. It's always important to bring us together for us to vent to each other and share among ourselves what we are missing or what we wish we had. So we're going to continue to do healing sessions. Not only in one city, we're going to try and do it in the DC area, Colorado, of course, Atlanta is on the list, and Los Angeles. So looking forward to coming up with a program on our website. But it's going to be a good year. We're going to be putting a lot of effort out there to help ourselves.
Wonderful. So there you have it. This is our introduction of Afrakanda. Please visit our website to find out more information. But this is real. The conversation has already started. The organization is being put in place, and you are invited. You are part of this vision. So we have Edward Mensah, the founder, who is Ghanaian, and Kimberly Campbell, co-chair, and the partnership, the healing, the call is being answered. Thank you.
Thank you.